All right. Good morning or afternoon. Let's talk about multiple takes in Pro Tools. There's a couple of ways a couple of different ways to do that in Pro Tools. One of them is Pro Tools specific, and I'll show you here in a second. The first thing I'm going to show you is kind of how you would do it, like on a tape machine, or how you would do it maybe in another DAW, right? So I don't have my lighting rig set up, so you'll just have to put up. You don't need to see me anyway. All right. So what we're going to do is, I've got a track here, right, and we're going to arm it. There it is. The track is armed, and so I'm going to read something, and I'm going to do take number 1, right? So here we go. Push 3 on the number pad. Here we go. The Fender Telecaster is the longest running solid electric guitar still in production. A brilliantly simple piece of design which works as well today as it did when introduced in 1951. All right, so we got one good take. All right, so then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a second take. All right, there you go. New. I'm going to call this voiceover take 2. Like that. That's how I'm going to, right? Here we go. You guys can see that right there. There we go. So I've disarmed the first one. I'm going to arm the second. Now, the audio is going to be a little bit strange sounding just because of the way I have to route things in the computer and Pro Tools and for this video recording thing. But it'll be all right. It'll serve the purpose, right? So here we go. I'm going to arm that track. And I'm going to go ahead and record. Oh, I don't want to hear the old track, right? I just want to hear the one that I'm doing currently, right? So here we go. The Fender Telecaster is the longest running solid electric guitar still in production. A brilliantly simple piece of design which works as well today as it did when introduced in 1951. Okay, so new track and voiceover take 3. I think you guys are getting the idea. Come over here, arm, hit 3 again. The Fender Telecaster is the longest running solid electric guitar still in production. A brilliantly simple piece of design which works as well today as it did when introduced in 1951. There we go. Again, it sounds pretty strange, but here we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to edit the best. What you can do is just edit together the best bits. All right. So I listen to this one. Here we go. The Fender Telecaster is the longest running solid electric guitar still in production. Okay, let's say we like that first bit, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new track. Command-Shift-N, that's the shortcut. Right? That would be the same thing as coming up here and going track, new, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this, right? There's any number of different ways I could copy it, Command-C. Or Control-C for you Windows people. I could paste it here, like that. The other thing I could do is I could separate it, but let's just leave it like this, right? This is how you would actually do music, right? For example, a guitar player would come in and play 10 takes of something, or Hilary Duff, 64 takes of something, and you would like piece it together. This is how you would piece it together, right? So there you go. And then let's see here. Let's say I'm soloing here. Listen here. A brilliantly simple piece of design. That was terrible. A brilliantly simple piece of design which... I think you get the idea. Let's see here. Let's go back to this one here. A brilliantly simple piece of design which works as well today. No, that's terrible, right? As it did. So here we go. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to do this one here. Solo this guy. A brilliantly simple piece of design which works as well. Here we go. Let me listen to that. A brilliantly simple piece of design which works as well today as it did. A brilliantly simple piece of design which works. A brilliantly simple piece of design which works. Okay, I'll take that. I'll copy that. I'll come over here and paste it. Here we go. as well today as it did when introduced in 1951. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and copy that. So my cursor's already there, right? And it's in the right spot. So I'm just going to shift, drag. This is just like Microsoft Word or OpenOffice, or what is the Mac's version? The Mac has a word processor. Any word processor works the same way, right? So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to put it over here. All right. Here we go. So now I'm going to solo this guy, right? Let's put it all together. The Fender Telecaster is the longest running solid electric guitar still in production. Here we go. I'm going to put this here. And you got to listen to that transition. Still in production. A brilliantly simple piece. There we go. In production. A brilliantly simple piece of design which works. A brilliantly simple piece of design which works as well today as it did. A brilliantly simple piece of design which works as well today. Oh, there's a little bit of weirdness there, right? So I'm going to come over here and let's listen to what, oh, there's like a double, right? So let me get rid of that. And let me move this over. Zoom back out. That's command bracket or control bracket. A brilliantly simple piece of design which works as well today as it did when introduced in 1951. And let's get rid of those spaces. And now I want to be in shuffle mode. Right? If you guys remember shuffle mode, this means it just bumps right up like that. There we go. As well today as it did when introduced in 19. I'm going to get rid of that little bit of, there we go. There we go. As well today as it did when introduced in 1951. There we go. And then we just save. There we go. And so this other stuff we don't need anymore. This is our comp track. I'll call it comp track. Here we go. And probably what you might want to do, right, is somehow stitch it all together. And in Pro Tools, if I triple click it, it all gets, this is pretty much any DAW or any word processor, right? If you triple click, you select the whole thing in the line, right? So I've selected all my clips. And I'm going to go to Edit. I'm going to say Consolidate. That's not what I wanted to do. What did I do? I muted them. There you go. Edit, Consolidate Clip, and it stitches it all together like that, right? So there that is. And again, I could export it. I could mix it in with something else, but that's how you make build a comp track, right? And this is the way you do it, right? People do it in voiceovers, they do it in movies, they do it in music, all sorts of things, right? So anyway, that's one way of doing it. Let me show you a second way of making this happen, right? So I'm going to go ahead and get this guy, and let's go ahead and select all of those. I'm going to delete these guys. Let's just start all over. All right. I want to make a new track. Command-Shift-N. Command-Shift-N. All right. And there it is. I'm going to call it Dan. There we go. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a take. Where's that book? There we go. It's a book about guitars, by the way. I guess you guys could have figured that one out. Here we go. There we go. We'll do the same thing here, right? It's going to sound pretty weird, but here we go. Right? You guys ready? The Fender Telecaster is the longest running solid electric guitar in production, a brilliantly simple piece of design, which works as well today as it did when introduced in 1951. So there's take Fender Telecaster. Take number one, right? So what I'm going to do here is instead of making a new track, right, which is perfectly fine. I did that for many, many, many years, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to, right, this what I'm showing you here is a Pro Tools specific thing, right? So I'm going to zoom in here, and for you guys, let me show you kind of where I'm at here. And there's this little thing here on the side, right? So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to say new. This is a playlist, right? So I'm making a new playlist, right? So I click here, and it's asking me, what do you want to name that playlist? I'll say Dan Take 2. There it is. Now the thing didn't go away. It's just not showing it to me, right? So I'm going to go ahead and click here, right? So let's record again. Take number 2. The Fender Telecaster is the longest running solid electric guitar still in production. A brilliantly simple piece of design which works as well today as it did when introduced in 1951. Oh well, it cut me off there. Right, so I guess I can't use that. But here we go. A new one. Here we go. This is going to be take 3. There you go. There we go. The Fender Telecaster is the longest running solid electric guitar still in production. A brilliantly simple piece of design which works as well today as it did when introduced in 1951. There he goes. And then on we go. Right? Just keep going. Right? Do your 64 Hillary Duff takes and you're good to go. Right? So let me show you this now. What I can do is I can go like this. Here's take number 1. Here's take number 2. Here's take number 3. Now again, this is a Pro Tools specific thing. I will say just about every DAW has a similar thing to do takes, right? Now, you better be careful when you do this, whether it's in Pro Tools or any other DAW. You can get yourself into big trouble. And you can easily lose track of stuff. And I'm not going to go into the craziness of I've done some sessions where people, not me doing them, but I've mixed some sessions where people kind of didn't know what they were doing here. They kind of knew, but they knew enough to get themselves into trouble. And that caused me a lot of extra work. So just be careful. You might think about doing it the way I just showed you before, having multiple tracks, because you can see everything. Everything's there, and it's obvious what's there, right? Here, things are hidden, and it's easy to kind of lose track of stuff. Just be careful, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, see where it says waveform, and I'm going to go to playlists. And when I click that, it shows me all of my playlists, right? It's kind of cool. So I can select something here, right? Let's say I'm going to solo this one here. The Fender Telecaster is the longest running solid electric guitar. That was terrible. I'm going to go ahead and solo this one. The Fender Telecaster is the longest running solid electric guitar still in production. I like that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this. And you see that little up arrow? It sends it to that track up there. Right? There we go. So let's listen. Let's continue listening to this guy right here. A brilliantly simple piece of design. Oh, that was terrible. How about this one here? A brilliantly simple piece of design which works as well today as it did when introduced in 1951. Maybe this one's better. Brilliantly simple piece of design which works as well today as it did when introduced. Anyway, I think let's take this guy here. A brilliantly simple piece of design. Here we go. We can take that, push it up there. Ta-da! Again, let's see what this is. So let's see what this is at the very end here. As it did in 1950. Oop, yeah, that's the one that cut me off, right? So I guess I can't use that one. There we go. When introduced in 1951. There we go. Put that up there. Ta-da! And there you go. And that's how you do that, right? So there's a bunch of a couple of main ways of doing this in Pro Tools, right? Again, most DAWs do the same kind of thing. So there it is, right? Let me show you how to do the lab, right? So let me get it set up. There'll be another video. Let me get it set up, right? See you soon.